Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to Rules for Rebels. It's Tuesday, and today is episode 71 of Side Hustle Tuesdays and our weekly Side Hustle series. I absolutely love today's story, and I think you guys will as well. Today's story is another story about an accidental business. This guy didn't even set out to start a business. I think there's a number of good lessons we can also take away from today's story. First, that anything and everything can be monetized. And secondly, what you do, you need not be perfect. For any of you guys who are interested in starting a YouTube channel, affiliate marketing, anything about creating content, but are worried your content isn't well produced or not well enough edited, do it anyways. You'd be surprised what people will watch, and many people like the authenticity of a simple cell phone video being uploaded if the content is good or interesting. Today's side hustle is about Andrew Taylor from Australia. Now, Andrew is a physical education teacher. He also used to be a world champion kayaker. And at 36 years old, Andrew realized that he'd gotten way out of shape and wanted to make a big change in his life. He knew he needed to do something extreme, so come New Year's Eve, he set a New Year's resolution to lose weight and get in better shape. Unlike many people, however, who vow to go to the gym, Andrew decided he would eat only one food, and the one food he settled on is potatoes. Now, the timing of this story was actually really interesting, as I was just listening to a Joe Rogan podcast recently where he was actually talking about this very diet. Now, while potatoes have gotten a bad rap in recent years for their high carb content, in a day and age when everybody's doing a keto diet and no carbs, in many ways potatoes are the perfect food and they have a ton of nutrition. They give you all the fat you need, all the vitamin C, iron, and fiber you need, and they're also a food that fills you up so you're not hungry. You can also literally eat as many potatoes as you want and never gain any weight. Now, prior to launching on this extreme diet, Andrew had spent about 6 weeks researching diets before coming up with this plan. He also had a background in nutrition, so he had a little bit of knowledge to go off of. So from January 2nd of 2016 to January 2nd of 2017, so one full year, Andrew ate nothing but potatoes. He would get 99.9% of his daily calories from potatoes, and 0.1% of his daily calories from the seasonings he would put on his potatoes. To help hold himself accountable, he kept a video diary on YouTube, essentially making himself responsible to his audience and allowing them to call him out if he fell off the wagon. Now, this is actually a really interesting idea and something I've thought about doing in the past to kind of correct behavior of my own. So whether I wanted to wake up earlier and put in a couple hours of work before I go into the office, or even waking up early to work out. I thought of doing something similar, which is like making a video every day at like 4 in the morning, basically to hold yourself accountable to your audience. And I think like The Rock and a couple other guys do this. Who's the Navy SEAL? Jocko Willink also does this. I think he's always on Instagram at like 4 o'clock in the morning showing off his watch that he's up and working out. But definitely a cool way to hold yourself accountable to your audience. Andrew posted videos from his phone on a daily basis, and he uploaded them straight to YouTube. No editing, just straight shot from his phone up to YouTube. This made the task of creating content easy to do, and it also made sure that it was something that he would be doing every day on a daily basis. There was no excuse not to do it. Again, no editing, just raw footage straight to YouTube. And I think this is proof that people will literally watch anything if the content is good or intriguing. Now, as I said at the beginning of this story, Andrew never planned on turning this into a business. He just shared his own journey, and it turned out that a lot of people found it interesting. After a few months, he had developed a good-sized audience. He also lost an astounding amount of weight. He lost over 121 pounds over the course of that year. And during the challenge, Andrew was very authentic and real and shared issues he had with food, addiction, and depression. He did this and he was very authentic, and people really connected with that. So he credits that with partly why he grew an audience and people feel such a connection with him. Soon, local and even national media started picking up the story. This led to his story going even more viral online, and at one point he was even mentioned on an episode of Saturday Night Live. All the while, Andrew was in essence marketing his business, even though at this point in time he didn't even know he had a business. The end of this year-long challenge was featured on an Australian television show, and following this, Andrew knew he needed to find a way to capitalize on all this attention and to monetize it, so he set up a website. He set up a simple website where he could share his story, add blog posts, and later he eventually added a podcast. Andrew found that many people wanted to replicate his journey and learn from him. He created products. He also shared a free potato recipes guide and talked about his challenge. This allowed him to collect people's email addresses so he could later market to them. He expanded his free products into a $25 ebook on the potato diet and his experience, and he also offers one-on-one coaching to anybody who wants to get on his diet and is looking for advice but wants a little bit more of his personal attention. To date, he's not gotten rich off of this, however he does bring in a consistent $1,500 per month with his side hustle. Not too bad for something that was never even intended to be a business. He continues to share his story, to blog, and to be active on social media. He uploads to Facebook, his podcast, his site, and YouTube regularly. And I think this story perfectly illustrates how anything and everything can be monetized, and that there's so many ways to make money if you just get creative with it and think outside the box. This started off as nothing more than a personal life transformation, but turned into a money-making side hustle. One last lesson to share from Andrew's project, and I think it's something very similar about my channel and my videos. If you're someone who thought about creating content or starting a YouTube channel, but are worried your videos won't be as polished as other people or aren't as nicely edited as other people, do it anyways. Well, there's definitely a place for polished and well-edited videos. They are enjoyable to watch. If you have that skill, that's amazing. Use it. But for those of us who aren't especially talented in video production or don't have expensive cameras, who cares? If you do something interesting, if you have interesting content, and if you share an intriguing story or can teach people something, they will listen. For Andrew, I think myself as well, I think something about the raw nature of his videos makes them more relatable and interesting. And if you're putting out good content that stands out above that can stand out above great editing. If you've been thinking about sharing your work, make the move and do it. Some further proof this actually works, look at Twitch. People watch other people play video games. I remember as a kid I used to hate when it wasn't my turn to play video games and you were waiting for your turn, and now people are willing to watch other people play video games. There's also Twitch channels where people watch other people code, and even some where people just watch people sit around their house or even smoke pot. There's literally an audience for anything and everything. Anyhow, guys, that's today's episode of Side Hustle Tuesdays. I hope you enjoyed it, and if any of you guys are on the fence about launching a YouTube channel or a business based around content, I hope this inspires you and motivates you to take the plunge. Until next time, this is Rules for Rebels and Side Hustle Tuesdays, signing off.